Welcome. You are listening to the podcast Healthcare Horizons, behind the scenes of Finnish healthcare. My name is Lotta Eronen. I'm a senior lecturer in healthcare. And today we'll explore the journey of studying nursing and working as a nurse in Finland with an international background, featuring an inspiring alumni and also some expert tips from the Career Center. Today we are going to discuss in English, as we hope this episode will inspire and provide international nurses with useful information. And welcome our guests, Meggie from the Career Center.
Yeah, thank you.
And then we have Reimar, registered nurse here in Finland.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
So, as we know, Finland has one of the oldest populations in Europe at the moment. And the population is also rapidly aging. And people in Finland are living longer at the same time as the age of first-time mothers has risen and birth rates has dropped, really. And for example, the employment ministry have estimated that Finland needs 200,000 new health and social care workers by the year of 2030.
Okay. Yeah.
And also the local authority employers, they say that they estimate that we need around 267,000 workers by 2040 within the healthcare sector. So quite big numbers.
Yeah.
So we need that we really know that the need for foreign labor within this field or sector is permanent and actually rising. So we need also complementary training and education for the nurses coming from abroad. So can you, Reima, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to studying nursing in Finland, and what motivated you to choose Finland?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Reimar. So I'm from the Philippines and I'm a registered nurse in the Philippines and also now a registered nurse here in Finland. So I am a graduate of Arcada under the Top Up Nursing Program. So I came in Finland almost 3 years ago. So it started like I just saw an advertisement in Facebook regarding hiring nurses here. So I applied and then it started there. And then until now, and I'm here practicing nursing here now in Finland. Yeah, so I saw advertisement and then it just came on my mind that this Finland. I haven't heard Finland before, so it struck me, and then it showed that it's the happiest country on the world. That's why it made me curious. So I applied and then it started there. Yeah.
Did you even know where Finland is?
I don't know even. So when I applied and then I look at the map and then it's almost on the North Pole. It's above north. So maybe it's so cold there.
Yeah.
So
and then you thought that, why are these the happiest people?
Yes. So it started there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we think of your experience as an international student, you came 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think things develop really quickly now because within 3 years a lot has happened also if we think of the education for international students.
Yes.
But what was your experience like when you came?
So it was a mix of challenge and growth for me. So of course I had this culture shock. So adjusting to new culture and of course the language, the learning the Finnish language was one of the biggest challenge for me. So before I came, I had this Finnish language course for 7 months before I landed my job here. So I need to pass examination and this speaking skills should be at B1 level so that I can communicate here in Finland with my patients and my colleagues. So yeah, it's a mix of challenge and growth, and the culture was a bit different from my country. So we in my country, there's a lot of people walking outside. You can communicate always with them, smile on them. And then here, when I came here, so all the people are inside their houses, and I cannot see even many people walking outside, especially during winter.
Was it winter time when you came?
Yes, it's February.
Okay.
So when I came here, there's a snowstorm immediately, and then I was so shocked. And then, and the cold weather also, I need to adjust because I came from a tropical country.
And the darkness.
And the darkness also.
Have you ever seen snow before you came?
I didn't saw snow ever since I was born. So, of course, it's also the biggest adjustment that I made when I moved here. But now I already adopted, and now I even love winter now.
Lovely. So this is your third winter.
Yeah, third winter.
Okay.
So you do get used to it. That's
Yes.
good to know.
What about, were there any kind of, like, if you think of your studies back in your home country and then you came here, so were there any kind of like academic adjustments or some kind of challenges or something that you faced while?
Yes. In my home country, of course, the medium of instruction is English. And, well, I took the nursing in English also here in Finland. But, of course, it's only on the subject. But if you go to the field, you must speak the language here, Finnish. And I had this Swedish also. So it's one of the biggest challenges also that I need to emphasize, that those students wanting to come here and to study nursing, that they must put effort on learning the language, because the language is very vital, especially in nurses, because it's our communication that we need to communicate always with our patient and colleagues, even the doctors, and also the relatives of the patient, so that we can establish rapport and we can establish a good relationship with our community also and patients.
Yes. Did you know about the minority of Swedish-speaking Finns before you came here?
No, I thought that only the Finnish language was the language here that being used. But when I came here, I had this one patient there that only speaks Swedish, and then I cannot communicate. So I need to ask my colleague that, can you translate what he said to me, because I cannot understand it. I thought that it's only Finnish that they are speaking here in this country, but Swedish is also one of the language.
And you came here to the Helsinki area when you came.
In metro in Helsinki, there are a lot who speaks or bilingual, Swedish speaking. So
and at Arcada also you actually took the basic course in
Swedish
in
also.
Swedish. Yes.
Yes.
Have you felt that it was useful for you when you?
Basic words I can communicate. Of course, during if I have these patients who are Swedish speaking, so it's a good way to also to improve the language, and it's nice.
Yeah, and it's always important for the patients, even though you could just speak a little bit about their own mother tongue. So, you already talked a little bit about the language. I'm thinking, like, what was the biggest challenges that you faced then, and how was it to overcome them?
I have told already the language, especially in the Finnish medical terms. So it's a bit different from what I know. Like for the heart, they call it Sudan. And then, there are many medical terms that should be understood and should be learned, so that you can understand the diagnosis and every step of the nursing care plan that you need to implement to your patients.
Yes. And I'm thinking like when you said you studied some Finnish before you came, so
Yes.
How was it? Was it easy to find a course in Finnish? Was it online or what kind of course did you?
Yeah, so I'm in the Philippines before, and then we have this online course every day. So I am working there also in the Philippines, so I need to manage my time that I need to study the Finnish language. So I dedicate 1 hour or 2 hours every day to study the language. And of course, my teachers are here in Finland, so we have a different time zone. So I am still studying there around 10 p.m. onwards because we have different time zone. So yeah, that's also one of the adjustments that I made and challenges that I need to hurdle in order to, because I need to learn the language. That's my I want to learn the language before I go here as a nurse and work as a nurse here in Finland.
Yes. And especially within this field, as you said, it's utmost important that you know the language before you come. And I think also that it might make it easier to do get the cultural adaptation as well if you already know the language a little bit before you come.
Yeah. So when I arrive here, we have these 2 days, I think, lecture and about the culture of Finland. So we got to know the sauna and then all the holidays like the Vappu and then the Juhannus, the Midsummer and all the culture. So you need to adapt and you need to learn because it's also important that you know what the culture of Finland so that you can adapt also if you come here in Finland. Yeah.
Okay, but then Meggie, what resources does the Career Center offer to the international students?
Yeah. So, my name is Meggie and I work here at Arcada as a career counselor, one of the career counselors on our team here at the Career Center. And we offer our services to all Arcada students and alumni as well, and that includes exchange students and international students. The first important thing to know is all our services are, of course, free of charge. So there should be no limit to visit us. And also, several visits might pay off. So we offer individual guidance, so one-on-one meetings where we basically together discuss and work on anything that would be relevant to find work. So it can be creating a CV or cover letter or discussing your competences and your strengths and how to market yourself in interviews and cover letters, or practicing for interviews, or even just looking for suitable job advertisements. And on top of the individual counselings, we have different sort of group events and workshops and guest speakers as well from different areas that come in and talk to our students. And also for some of the international students, especially the top-up ones, at the very beginning, within the first few weeks that they arrive, we have sort of an introduction lecture to work life in Finland as well, to get them started on like what are the very first steps and the basics that you need to know.
Yeah.
But basically anything that would help a student or alumni get work.
Sounds really good, I think. Did you, Reimar, visit the Career Center while you studied or now as an alumni?
Now I haven't visited yet, but now that I know that they have these services, I can visit them and I can ask help for them, of course, if I need.
And that is why the introductory lectures are really important, to let the new students know that we are here, because otherwise it's just easy not to notice that this sort of service is available.
Yes, and actually as a nurse you can have a quite, if we think of like the career path, so there's a lot of things you can do in nursing and proceed in your career. And there it could be really useful, I think, because sometimes you don't even know what kind of career paths you could have.
Yes.
So I'm thinking like, of course, there are differences as well about the cultural things for applying a job in different countries. And that is maybe one thing that you also talk about.
We usually start off by asking what they're used to, first of all. How does recruitment look like in your home country? And then we can more easily pinpoint the differences and go more into detail on the things that are special for Finland. But yes, there's definitely some cultural factors that one needs to be aware of simply how things work in Finland. And it's really good to know to adapt to the Finnish way of recruiting.
Yeah, and especially Finland is still quite a small country, and especially the Helsinki area is quite small, so maybe it's good to, I'm thinking like that how to do it in a quite good way, thinking of your career in the beginning, so because words still spread and
Yes, it's important to make a good first impression as well, because there aren't too many employers in, for example, the Helsinki metropolitan area. So if you start looking for a job, then you're going to be in contact with the same sort of employers throughout the years.
Yeah. And that is maybe something that when you come from big countries, like where the biggest city in that country is as big as the whole Finland. So yes. So Reima, how did you secure your first job in Finland after graduation, and was the process challenging?
Yeah, for me it's challenging, especially that I'm a foreigner. I came from a foreign country, and my maybe they thought that my Finnish language is not yet enough, but I was invited for many interviews, luckily, and then of course I had been chosen also, but I need to choose also for myself. But it's a bit challenging maybe for others also to find some job also, especially if you are from a foreign background also. Yeah.
Yes. But then you succeeded, and
now I'm a sairaanhoitaja also in my workplace now.
So was the first job you got, was it within the healthcare sector?
Yes, it's in the healthcare sector. Yes.
And then maybe Maggie, like if you would like to explain a little bit, like what are the key skills or that the Finnish, if you think of the healthcare employers, maybe would look for in the graduates?
Well, there's both professional skills and personal qualities that are really sought after. And most of them, it sort of doesn't matter if you're national or international. I think the most important one would be a mindset for flexibility and problem solving and being able to adjust in quickly changing situations, because the healthcare scene is very dynamic, and especially in situations like staff shortage or something like that, you really need to be able to have that flexibility to adapt to new situations, and also prioritize during stress and being proactive in solving problems, basically. So just having that mindset of flexibility, I think, is one of the very most important things. And then another thing, also a personal quality, would be teamwork and empathy. Basically, you're never working alone. You're always a part of a team. So both when it comes to communication, as in the language, but also general communication skills and interpersonal skills are really important. And I would also say empathy, because, empathy towards both the clients, but also your colleagues, because you need to understand that they're under stress, and then have the teamwork skills to cope with that.
Yes.
And then I think a professional skill would be technological and digital skills. Finland is quite forthgoing with their modern healthcare technologies. Yes. So insight and knowledge in AI-driven healthcare tools and electronic records and mobile health applications where you can have video calls with doctors and nurses, for example. So all of these sort of knowledges regarding technological advancements are really in demand right now.
Yeah. What do you say, Reima, to that? Was it the difference there when you came?
Of course. There's a big difference on how in my country, we still use charting. We used to write all what we done with the patient. Now, when I came here, you just click. What have you done to the patient? And then it's really modern here. So it's also that you need to be you need to be your IT skills should be good, and you need to improve it also when you come here in Finland.
Yes.
That's also actually a quality I think is very much appreciated, a mindset of continuous learning and development, being willing to expand on your skills and learn, for example, new technological tools.
Yes, yes. And already applying for a job you need some kind of digital skills, I think. Yeah.
Yes, it usually always happens by a computer. It's quite rare nowadays to handwrite your CV and go hand it in to the employer.
So talking about the CV, so would you share, Maggie, some insights on how to build a good CV?
Yes, well, there are certain structures that sort of need to be followed. The most important thing is to make sure your work history is clear, obviously. And they're not assuming that the recruiter automatically knows your hospital or your tasks. So really going into detail about the tasks and experience and responsibilities you've had, making that very clear. And the other side of it, on top of the professional proficiency, is highlighting yourself and your personality and especially your values and motivation. So that's something that is very important for the employer to see whether you're actually a good match. So not only highlighting the professional skills and your education, of course, but also talking a little bit about how you work and maybe the feedback you have gotten from clients and so on. Yeah. But it's important to have a personal touch to it, to not only express your sort of professional history.
Yeah, I think especially we Finns are not quite good at like highlighting this kind of things, but hopefully we can also like learn that.
Yes, it's a good exercise to think about your strengths as well. Yeah. It gives you confidence.
Yeah, we sometimes we feel like we just somehow get stuck to the professional things. We don't feel like we want to.
And Finns rarely want to highlight or even brag. That would feel very uncomfortable for many Finns.
Yes. So, but it's still quite traditional often like a CV. It's not, or I think some or I have seen some applications where you need to upload a video or some kind of short pitch or something.
Yes, the CV is still always included in one form and another. Usually it's the paper version that you send in, but also the addition of video elements just to get a real touch of the person and how they are. So there might be recruitments where you are required or asked to sort of present the same things in video format, and that can be really nerve-wracking for some people who are not comfortable in front of the camera. But that's it's getting used more and more, these video elements as well.
I think the youth, they are quite good.
Yes, there's
but maybe like our generation are not that comfortable. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm thinking like, are there some common mistakes or something that we should think of when applying for a job or going for an interview or something?
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of things you can do right, but then there's some things that you should watch out for and avoid. So I think one of the most common factors is job seekers sort of putting more focus on quantity over quality. So we have a lot of people who are looking for jobs who come in and tell us they have sent out hundreds of applications and still not getting maybe answers. So that's sort of a problem in the sense that if you just focus on the mass of applications you send out, they might not have the quality and they might not be quite generic. So I would say it's really, really important to spend time on the quality of both your CV and your applications. Really sit down and think about in depth about what you have to offer, what the company is looking for and how those match. Also, to not make it too generic, you should customize your application for each job you're looking for. So you can write one base and then modify it for each application, but it would be really important that you really change the details according to what's relevant for the position you're currently looking for. So it takes some time when you really go into detail, and you might also want to do research about the company ahead before sending the application and maybe contact the employer or recruiter afterwards. So it usually pays off to aim at something like 10 to 20 really good applications with thorough research rather than sending the same application out to 100 different positions. Usually it's better result with the quality ones. And then another one that I was already in on is the problem of being too general. So it's natural to think that you know your own experience inside and out, and it's sort of a given. But the recruiter necessarily doesn't, especially if they don't have any experience within healthcare. Although then recruiters will usually work with somebody who has the professional skills. But really going into enough detail about your previous experience and explaining everything to the recruiter so that it makes their reading as easy as possible. Because if the recruiter has a bunch of applications, they don't have the time simply to go in and look at what did this specific hospital do and what does that task include. So really trying to make it as detailed and providing context, basically, enough context.
Yeah. So there should be something like that somehow sticks out when they go through all the applications. Like this is something that caught my mind now.
Yes, that is really good if you can have something that is stays on your mind and something that draws attention a little bit. But there again, the professional skills are really important, and that's where you need to go into depth and have context. But then also a sort of a mistake would be focusing too much on the professional skills. And like I said before, you also need to bring out your personal strengths, and that can be more of a difficulty.
Yes.
And especially thinking about your motivation and values, why this specific employer or team or the role you're applying for, why that would support your own values and the things you are striving for in your career. But so, yeah, these things are also very important to highlight. And yeah, there's different ways to go about it as well. If you have trouble figuring out sort of the soft skills you have, there's different ways to go about it. For example, asking a colleague for feedback, or maybe your client has given you feedback on how you act as a nurse, and that can be something that's good to mention.
Because sometimes it's not that easy. You start thinking like, what are they actually? Then you somehow need to figure it out as well.
Yes.
And then within the healthcare. Nowadays, we have also a lot of private employers in Finland as well. So are there like some kind of differences, Maggie, that you would like to talk about? Like if you think of applying as a nurse for a private company or hospital or...
Yeah. So, there's been changes in the healthcare system so that the bigger cities usually have the public sector offering their services, but in smaller cities, the private sector has quite a lot been taking over and expanding. So, depending on where you live, first of all, you need to think about the work opportunities, whether there are more opportunities in the private or public sector. But in general, the public sector is the larger employer. They have more sort of openings, and they can provide quite stable roles that you can stay in for quite a long time, and also quite comprehensive benefits. And the roles are usually in patient care, in primary health care centers and specialized hospitals, and emergency services, of course, as well. And for the recruitment to these public sector places, there is this site Kuntarekry. So that's quite easy in the sense that there is one site where you can apply for different municipalities. But I'd say in general, it's more general roles and larger responsibilities, whereas when it comes to the private sector, it might require more specialized skills. So the private sectors and clinics are expanding, especially in the urban areas, and there are a lot of outsourced health services for these sort of special services, such as elderly care or occupational healthcare providers. So for the private sector, there's typically more flexibility maybe in the working hours and better salaries quite often. But then on the other hand, it also requires more versatile skills. And right now, I think private companies are quite actively looking for international nurses. Public sector as well, but the private sector puts more effort into also themselves sort of adapting and providing, for example, language training and integration sessions. So there's benefits with both, but mainly you need to be aware of sort of where you live and what you have to offer and see where you fit in.
Yes. So, Reimar, if you would share some tips for like current students or those who maybe want to become nurses in Finland, like to follow a similar career path as you had. So do you have something you wish to say?
first of all, you need to stay persistent. So don't let setbacks discourage you. So every step, even small ones, add up to the progress. So, and then you need to learn the language, of course. You need to invest in learning Finnish language. So, because it's your gateway to job opportunities. And then you need to gain experience, so you can have part-time works in the healthcare, in every companies that you have to build your skills and to gain network. So you need to build also relationship with your colleagues, professionally, and then so that you can have a strong network where you can have the job opportunities. It can open doors for you.
Yeah.
So, and then focus on growth. So you just learn continuously and in academic or professionally. So that's
yes.
it.
Yeah. And as you said, the language is the key to opening the doors, and especially within this sector. But what kind of different works have you done now as a nurse since you started?
So now I have this Päivystys. I've been na Päivystys sairaanhoitaja.
Yeah, so the emergency care.
Emergency. So you need to communicate also to the doctors and to the relatives. So language is the key, because if you don't know the language, how can you build a relationship to the doctor and then to the patient's family?
Yeah.
So it's also a key for the nursing care plan to succeed in the care plan of the patient.
Yeah, and of course the documentation, as you mentioned previously as well. And for the patient safety, of course, is crucial, because you need to understand each other, because it's all about teamwork.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, what do you love most about working as a nurse in Finland, Reimar?
Now, I can say that I have this work-life balance. Unlike before, that before when I was there in my home country, I used to work overtime. I have this, at least I don't have enough free time for myself and for my hobbies. So now I can do what I want to do, like walking outside, going to malls, meeting my friends, having movies. So the work-life balance is so good here in Finland, that they value also your hyvinvointi, well-being as a employee and as a person.
Yeah. So, and there's different benefits as well.
Yes.
Provided
to employees. Yes.
And those might vary a little bit between the public and the private sector as well.
Yes. That's some sort of cultural or money, or for sports and support
and recreation.
And also most workplaces have their own healthcare system, so that they have some provider that you also get your own healthcare taken care of by the employer.
Yes.
So, but that sounds good.
Yes.
Because then we know that, of course, the well-being is very important.
It can prevent burnout. If you are burnt out, then how can you deliver a good care to your patient if you are so stressed, you don't have enough rest? So it's so good that you have enough free time for yourself also.
You need to take care of yourself first to be able to take care of others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's how it goes. Do you have any future dreams or any career dreams that you want to share with us?
Yeah, as I said before, I want to be a continuous learner. So maybe, I don't know yet, but maybe we will cross the bridge when we get there. But maybe I can take my master's degree also here in Finland, specializing in maybe geriatric care, because now I'm in the geriatric area of healthcare. And then digital health also is one of the current trends now, because we are now in the modern era, and then AI is also here. So digital health also I have a curiosity on it. So maybe I can study more of it. soon.
Yeah. But the aging or the elderly care sounds really good because actually, because we know we need more nurses to work within that area. And often when you're, especially when you are quite young, when you start studying the emergency care and all the action feels so exciting that we somehow, I think, also from the teaching perspective, need to think of how can we really make, because elderly care is it's a very nice area to work within, and actually that's quite a hard job as well, because often those patients you take care of in the emergency, they are quite healthy in that sense, but the elderly, they are the ones that have multiple diseases and so on. And also working with the elderly gives you as a nurse a lot. So somehow we should really think of how could we get more nurses to be interested to work in the elderly care and to improve it as well. And be part of the development. So because we know we are all gonna get old someday.
Benefits us as well to this point.
So we should really keep that in mind, that we sometimes forget a little bit. I think in our country or culture, it's different. We don't live together in generations and so on. So
that's true. That's a very important factor to account for. That we usually have our elderly people in these elderly care centers, and it's not it's more individualistic in that sense. It's not collective as in taking care of your grandparents at home.
Yeah. Okay, but are there any maybe trends or something you think that future nurses or nursing students should be aware of, if you think from the career center aspect?
Well, I think one of the main things is, of course, the growing demand for nurses because of the aging population, but also because of a rise in chronic diseases such as diabetes and obesity. So there is a lot of focus on cardiovascular issues, for example, and through that also preventative care to address these issues before they get out of hand. So different type of lifestyle interventions and preventative measures are something that are growing in demand and will become even more important in the future. And I think that's a very good initiative to sort of tackle the problem before it begins. And then actually the digital health innovations in different forms. So we have already Kanta, our electronic healthcare record. There are telemedicine platforms, and then predictive diagnostics via AI. And for example, what we have here at Arcada is learning through virtual reality. So that is a great new tool. So just in general, being comfortable with that is very important, and realizing that you need to have some sort of technological mindset as well.
Yes. And of course, there's a lot of nowadays courses that you can take online and continuous learning. And so you say that we should really put focus on the digital. Okay, but I agree actually. Yes, and it's also very interesting because I really feel that especially nurses, they have their own professional skills and they have their own core concepts of what is the nursing profession, and they should really be part of also developing. So that we can get really high quality, good solutions. That meet the requirements for both the patients, but also for the nurses. So they are, because they are going to work with those tools.
Exactly. So not only learning the new tools, but also having a mindset to develop them and see different needs that can be filled. Also, there is a lot of interdisciplinary work within the healthcare field. So that as well goes back to the teamwork skills and communication skills, but understanding how different people with different knowledge can come together and make the best possible whole.
There I see some interesting future careers as well.
A lot of possibilities.
Any final words of encouragement or advice for international students?
Yes, I could provide some sort of tips. We've been in a lot on the language, so that is definitely something that cannot be overstated. But one tip with that is when you get tired of the courses, I recommend watching Finnish healthcare series. That is a good way to learn. So there's both fictional series like Syke, and then there's a reality series like Elossa, for example. So there you would get an insight into the medical language and how doctors communicate with their patients. So that can be a more fun way way of learning both the language and how things work at the Finnish hospitals.
Yeah.
A second thing that you can do in advance to advance your cultural awareness would be to look up information simply about the Finnish healthcare system and workplace etiquette, for example, and patient rights. So there are some things that you can do even before arriving to Finland to get your sort of mindset in the Finnish way. So understanding the Finnish mentality is really important, but also larger cultural awareness in the sense that we are a growing international population. So, of course, when it comes to languages, English is very valuable. And often also your native language can come into use because we are expanding in our diversity.
Yes.
And then I would say networking is one of the best things you can do. And especially during your practical training, you should take the opportunity and really connect with the people you are working with. And also during your studies, connecting with the other students and the alumni and the teachers. And if you do have an internship or a training period and you like it, really highlight that you like it and what you like and why you would like to stay. Because your colleagues will have a little bit of a say sort of if you are a good fit for the team. So unless you express that you are really eager to join their team, you can't know that. So be vocal about what you like and why you want to stay and how your values align. That's really useful. So yeah, speak up and be brave in talking and practicing your language and making new contacts. But in general, I would just say you started off by saying it's growth with challenge, and I think that's really what you need to understand and have the mindset for, that it will be a challenge to begin with.
Yes.
But if you have the right mindset of growing and being willing to have that flexibility to adapt, you can really achieve great things. And there's a lot of good opportunities in Finland for those who are dedicated and compassionate and really genuinely committed to make a difference.
Yeah.
So if you dream big and you work hard, there's no limits.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I agree.
Okay, so Reimar, some final words from you. What's your message to those considering nursing in Finland?
Yeah. Just enjoy the flow. If you want to be a nurse, then you must study the language, adapt to the culture, build friends, build network. That's it. It will open many doors for you of opportunities here in Finland. Yeah.
And now you've been here 3 years, you said. So do you feel
almost
like
3 years. Yeah.
do you feel like now you are part of the happiest people in the world?
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell that I am part of Finland already now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very nice to hear. So thank you very much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes featuring real stories and experts from the healthcare sector in Finland. Yes, so thank you so much, both of you, for participating today.
Thank you for having us.